Monsieur Colin Kazim Richards, a great philosopher, once said, "Wah wah we wah, the Premier League." Now, we have started this year with an absolute bang. I'm going to go straight into it with Manchester United's full statement. Ruben Amorim has departed his role as head coach of Manchester United. Ruben was appointed in November 2024 and led the team to UEFA Europa League final in Bilbao in May. With Manchester United sitting sixth in the Premier League, the club's leadership has reluctantly made the decision that it is the right time to make a change. This will give the team the best opportunity of the highest possible Premier League finish. The club would like to thank Ruben for his contribution to the club and wishes him well for the future. Darren Fletcher will take charge of the team against Burnley on Wednesday. Kaboom, Kazim!
Where was that jingle from? Sorry. That jingle was crazy. No, yeah. Listen, you're a happy man today. You're a happy man.
I'm a little bit surprised. Because when the news came in, I thought, didn't expect that today. But perhaps it's been brewing.
Yeah, you said something that's resonated a lot. Like, what was the whole point in sacking or whatever happened? Let's not say sacking but Dan Ashworth.
Mutually agree. When we sack somebody, we say mutually agree.
What was the point in that? So basically everything that he kind of pointed out and
everything that he said could go wrong and possibly would go wrong went wrong, and now we have it. So if we dissect it a little bit, let's go with the timeline. So it was appointed in November 2024 on a contract till June 2027. So I reckon that on New Year's Day, Ruben just said, I can't be bothered anymore. I've got a massive hangover. I've been out partying down in Piccadilly in Manchester. I've had a great time around about Chorlton. Now, you know what I need?
Why'd you pick Chorlton?
I just need, because it's a great place to party in Manchester. You know what I fancy? I fancy having a huge lump sum in the bank. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw some bombs. Here we go. Pew! So, bomb number one. I'm the manager. I'm not a coach. Ruben, you're the head coach. So that would have been the disagreement number one. The second thing that I believe has happened is that Ruben has gone in prior to Christmas and he's opened up his calendar and he's expecting to see world level names on that hit list. So if we take the example of Semenyo at the moment, who seems to be on the hit list of a lot of the highest clubs as well, Ruben would have been saying, where are we with Semenyo? Where are we with Semenyo? I really want him. I'm going to play him as a wing back in my 3-4-3. So, and then what would have happened is that Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada and possibly Jim Radcliffe, actually, let me interject. Jim Radcliffe in December judged him after 3 years, was his quote. Nice one, Jim. So,
hey, you're talking about I'm on one.
He would have gone. So he would have gone basically thinking, hey, who's my new players for January? And Omar Barada would have gone, you know what, Ruben, actually, your results have really sucked. So as opposed to giving you, the head coach and not the manager, a load more money to go and spank for terrible results again, we might not go down that road, actually, and we'll let Jason Wilcox, who's the sporting director, technical director, whatever he is, sort of formulate that plan, and we'll go with that. So yeah, basically, they didn't listen to Dan Ashworth. They shouldn't have appointed him, so they had to pay Dan Ashworth off. They're now having to pay Ruben Amorim off, and now they're having to find a new coach. And that's before we get into the stadium stuff.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Yeah, that's crazy.
Where do Manchester United go from here?
I don't have a clue. And to be honest, I'm glad it's someone else who has to figure all that out. Because it's like, how I look at it, it's like they've done all this. It hasn't just happened organically. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's
Football self-harm?
Yeah, it's like self-inflicted, like a big massive explosion that they've just put in their own house. Like it's a situation that's like, you can see, like, you know, like
It's in
outs-
slow motion.
It's like
happening in slow
literally,
motion, basically.
literally, it's in slow motion, and you can see it happening. You know when you're doing something in life, like right, you've been through it loads of times. You're like, why am I doing it? And you just can't control. Like,
Yeah.
it's literally been on the wall for the last year. It's been written down. You can see it. Everyone's looking at it like, okay, that's happened. Yeah, said that 2 weeks ago. Boom. Oh, another one. Yeah, we said that. You can see it happening, and it's like, so now what? What do they do now? Do they go and get a gap filler? Or do they go and get a coach again in the same situation, take over at a time where it's not really going to be his players that are coming in again? He's got a squad that's not his again, trying to play a system that's been doctored into them.
Although what we did see is that they can play successfully in a 4-3-3.
100%. But let's go back to that Semenyo. And we just say his name because he's the one that's on everybody's minds at the moment. Okay, but just anyone. If you're going for a player a top informed player or a top player right now, and Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Paris, let's say for example, let's just not make it English teams. I don't even think Man United are in the conversation. Because the football that they've been playing, why would you as a player, with no Champions League as well, what appeals you to that? Because you're going to get the same money everywhere now. Yeah? Right? So what appeals you to that? And I think that's a major factor as well. Because I definitely believe that Wilcox would have looked at big names. And he's probably done his due diligence like, look, we're interested. And they've just gone, you know what? It's all right. At the moment. Do you understand? Now, when I was coming up,
there's never any question.
Forget that. Listen, we're
I'm
giving you
walking.
20 grand a week. Yeah, but this one's giving 50. Don't care. You know what? Sign Man United. That's how it was. Man United had that pulling power.
Yeah.
Man United had that. Everybody wanted to play. Had that aura. Had that winning. You looked at Man United and you saw winner.
There was respect. You know, we
And
spoke
absolutely so.
last week about these starting positions. He nailed down starters, and you looked at Man United, and they were amazing all over the pitch. They had choices in every single position, but they had this winning mentality that was difficult to beat down. Wherever they went, you expected them to win. They always fulfilled it as well. That air of invincibility, right?
Yeah, like you know, when you looked at Man United, you saw culture. You saw, for example, competition massively, right? But as a player, sometimes some players don't like that. But let's just say, no matter what.
Up until the Glazers took over, they were the best at everything. They're the best stadium. Their training ground was at the time one of the most modern. It's all gone.
Man,
Quick.
like, and they still pay absolute massive wages, right? But players are looking at it like, why do I want to go in that mess? Why do I want to go in that mess? Do I want to be the one that is having to be a guinea pig to try and help change it?
I suppose
Right,
why as a player would you go there? You go there for a season, you fail, and then you relaunch somewhere else and be 10 times better, for example. A little bit like Højlund, a little bit like Rashford.
There's you can go through the list. I just think, it's been very difficult. We keep talking about Alex Ferguson. It's been very difficult since he left, because he left on an absolute pedestal, which deservedly so. Yeah, he left the club in an amazing position. He left the club absolutely, like, when you look at it, we said,
he must just be gutted every time he goes to see them, just thinking, I spent my lifetime building a framework of what a super club is, mentality. And the great thing about him was the way in which he adapted. He evolved. As
And if
the
you look at
players'
exactly,
mentality
it's exactly what you're
changed, the
saying.
society changed, he evolved.
If you look at where Alex Ferguson started, and then the players he started signing, right, and then helping them to mold into what he wanted from an idea. Yeah, let's not say system. This is the idea that I'm going for. This is what you're going to need to do in such and such areas. Then when you get there, I need you to be yourself. Even the best of the best, like statistically in this league, yep, right, even adapt. We're getting coaches, managers now that don't want to do that. And I'm not just talking about Man United, I'm talking about throughout the whole leagues.
But that's what
Yeah.
what absolutely blows my mind is the egotistical stupidity of these guys, and there's no other phrase for it, because if the greatest exponents of football managers, the contemporaries, shall we say, are showing adaptation and evolution, surely that's what everybody should be aiming for.
Vintino said it the best. He said the manager is very different to the year that he came. The year that he came, he needed us to do what he said so we can get into a position while he was molding. This year is allowing us to be free. If you look at all the rotations, because now he's implemented and he's got the trust, he's got the relationship, he's got his base, he's able to go out and he's done that. And it's like this, like I was talking about Man United the other day, and it kind of reminds, not Man United, I was talking about football and coaching the other day to my friend. I got a friend, yeah, he's from like, I call him old school, because he's got old school mentality, right? So you got everything, like you got Waze, you got Google.
It's one of his favourite phrases basically is that you need to earn the right to play football.
No. This is my friend, right? So I'm in his car, and I've got Waze on.
Mm-hmm.
Waze is saying, listen,
there's another way to go.
There's another way to go. It's quicker, but listen to this. It's mad traffic. No, man. I've been going this way for years. He's not having none of it. We've stuck in the same place for an hour. And he does it all the time. And I'm like, bro, there is so many different ways to get to what outcome you want, right?
Yeah. There's not just the one path.
There's not just the one way. So I get coaches being like, I'm not deviating away from the plan. I totally get that in terms of your foundation, in terms of...
So when you say that as well, does that include a formation?
100%. Because at the end of the day, right, I keep saying this to people, coaching day to day is different to in-game management. Is different to match day. Okay? So for example, I can be like, let's just go, I can be I don't know, let's not make it personal to anybody. Let's just say I could be at Sunderland and you're at Blackburn. Okay? Why are you laughing?
Sorry, I watched Blackburn this weekend and it made me chuckle.
Yeah. I'll watch them as well.
Horrible.
But listen, let's not deviate from what we're saying. I can go all week watching you, where we're in the meetings, we're in pre-game meetings, match day -2, match day -1, and this is how they play, and this is what they do, and etc. And this is how we're going to exploit it. And they play a 4-3-3, blah blah blah. Come match day, it's totally different. Me as a coach now, first of all, I should be a coach where I've implemented adaptation for my team, right? But now I'm saying, no, we're still doing what we said that they're going to do, but it's showing you exactly they're not doing that.
Yeah.
They're not doing nothing that we said. So now, do we keep trying to force
the issue? Yeah.
The issue, do we keep trying to force what we said for the main outcome on match day is to what?
To win.
Is to win.
To get the points.
In senior football, it is to win. And sometimes it's ugly. I'm all about entertaining football. I am. But at the end of the day, right, it's about results.
You're happy with an ugly win still?
An ugly win
is better than a beautiful loss.
99% of the time, yes. 100%. Because sometimes your team gives everything and you come out with a beautiful loss. Understand what I mean? But that's a mad contradiction, right? But it's just the truth. But what I'm saying is the plan is to get 3 points. And you have to do what you have to do to get those 3 points. You can have a system, man, but it's all about ideas. It's about ideas. How do I get my idea? How do I execute my idea? How do I do that? The principles. It's not about systems. And he kept on trying to push the system. It was like the system was bigger than anything else. And
he got himself into such a hole, you know what I mean? Basically, what he should have done is that he should have gone down the I'm not actually that good with English route and protected himself. Right? Pochettino, we've spoken before, was the master. He hid the fact that he could speak English for about 2 years whilst working in England. Genius. Genius. Spoke great English as well, by the way. So I think had he done that, he wouldn't have talked so openly and honestly and got himself into these situations. A lot of the time, it's the way that the media is handled. Enzo Maresca, also sort of befell a very, very similar fate to Ruben Amorim. I mean, the two stories, the two situations are pretty much identical, apart from the fact that arguably Maresca was a more successful manager.
Hmm. I also think two clubs are run a bit different in terms of what I mean by that is you see a lot of the owner coming into the change room. And
They're very
things like
different
that.
because Man United's top earning players are playing really, really well away in different clubs. Chelsea's top earning players are training.
Yeah, but also I think I've been in situations, and why I can relate to it, I've been in situations where pre-match, half-time, post-match, owners, directors, sporting directors, everybody's in the change room, everybody's talking.
You know something's going to go down. When I mean,
Man, it's a lot.
so explain to me one of the most memorable coach sackings, or one of the most surprising ones. Open the Kaz memory bank.
Listen to this story, yeah. This is it's wild. It is when I mean mental, yeah. And you're gonna have to clip this. This will go like mad. Fenerbahce.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember who was playing, but on paper we should have been winning.
Yeah, so for pretty much every single game that season, apart from one or two, maybe, where you're thinking we're winning this.
Yeah, but the league is crazy,
Mhm.
right? But anyway, basically, I
So
can't
a
remember.
lot of pressure, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's my first year as well. It's mad. So should be winning. I can't remember. I don't want to say if he was losing or he was drawing, but still drawing is losing. Yeah, when you're there, drawing is losing. So Fenerbahce was playing. I can't remember who it was. I have to look it up. So our coach, one of the greatest players of all time, the year before that, he just won the league. Zico. Okay.
Explain who Zico is for people
So
who are
Zico,
slightly younger.
for a certain generation, is the greatest player of all time. One of the most talented players ever in history as a pro. Because I always say, for me, the most talented players are the ones that never made it, but there's someone out there that's crazy talented. But Zico is the most talented for certain people, sorry, of that generation. If you ask them who's the greatest player ever, they'll tell you Zico. Right? Got you off your feet, free kick specialist,
A world
an absolute
name,
magician,
right?
yeah, world renowned. They say the best player and the best team to have never won a World Cup. I don't know if you want that title, but an absolute genius of a footballer and an absolute philosopher as well.
Mhm.
And the way when you sit next to me and talk football, you just feel like you're learning. Yeah. So we're at Fenerbahce, bro. Okay. Like I said, can't remember if we're drawing or losing, but drawing is a loss. Coming at half time, Aziz Yildirim, who is the president of Fenerbahce, absolutely ginormous in terms of power in the country, power in football, economical power, power in politics, whether it be through him or through whoever.
He's a pretty big dog locally.
Massive dog, massive guy in the country, right? Anyway, he comes down at half time with about so he came down with all the Unetim, which is like the directors. So he's like, that's 10 guys, and then his security as well, right? Which is another 10 guys. So all in all, I promise you, no word of a lie, and anybody who was there at the time they've got something to say, can say it. Walk in. So 20, 21 people, whatever it might be, right? Literally, no exaggeration. I'm not sprinkling sugar on top. It was like that. All come in the change room. Whoa. So Zico's little brother, who is his assistant, as his children comes in, he starts growling at everybody like, pow, 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 pow. He's giving it to everybody, right?
All the players.
All the players. Before Zico's even spoke. So Zico's he's standing there. So he's Zico's his bigger brother, should I say, is not his little brother, excuse me. Zico's little brother was like, okay, Bashkan is like president. Let Zico do his job, let him talk. And he's like, what? What? Who are you? Who are you? Get out. And then they start arguing. And the security take him out.
How could he not
he
know?
was
How could he not know who the guy was?
No, he knows who he is. But
Oh, right,
he's just
okay.
Like, who are you?
In
like,
the moment. In the
no,
moment.
like it's not even in the moment. It's like, who are you? Like, in terms of, like, do you know who I am? Like, that's like I'm the be all and end all. Yeah, draw that line. Who do you think you are? And took him out. We never see him again. In terms of at the club.
That was it.
No, you weren't allowed back in. You weren't allowed, not even at training or nothing like that. So when you're talking about, and this was Zico. Yeah, crazy.
It doesn't
like,
matter who you are.
It doesn't matter who you are when you get into a situation like that in terms of
A political dead end.
yeah, like a dead end. As a coach, where you're supposed to be the one that, you know, it's the final word. It's your team. You've been hired to do that, and then it does become difficult, even as a player, because sometimes I've been in the same situation where he's saying one thing and the coach is saying another thing.
So talk to me a little bit about this influence from above the pitch, shall we say. So we've had Maresca, who hinted at the fact that there was some pressure put to him to play certain players, and we've had Amorim as well almost intimate the same thing. What's been your experience where there is pressure from outside of the manager to pick different players? Does it go on? Have you seen it?
Yeah. Like it went on there, 100%. It goes on in those situations. But look, you got to remember, right? I'm not going to sit here and say one is either. Either one is correct, because at the end of the day, you know what it is before you get there. You do.
Do you?
Of course you do. So you're telling me now, whoever takes that job now doesn't quite know that.
I'd say that.
And then within 6 months, if they complain about it,
I'd say possibly what that is a demonstration of how cultured your career was. You experienced throughout your careers, 20 different transfers, playing all different levels, European football, South American football, all over Europe. And that means that you're exposed to, many, many different social, cultural structures of football.
Yeah.
Over here, don't forget that 20 years ago, the idea of a sporting director was roundly rejected by every single
20,
English
that's a bit
manager.
far. We're talking even closer than that.
Well,
10 years ago.
10 years ago, the whole idea of a manager having to work with a sporting director was wild, okay?
Yeah.
Because the manager saw it as a dilution of his power. Previously, the person who sits on the touchline was in charge of all of the signings, all of the sales, everything. And now they're not.
They're not.
And the illusion, for example, with Amorim is that he was under the impression that he would get to pick his own players. So how it
to
normally
pick
happens,
as in the 11, I think he always had the choice to pick his 11. I think what we mean is more of who's coming in, right?
well, also, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who's coming in? But I mean, I think there have been pressures as well on him. I think clearly, anybody who, when you're working as a sporting director within a club, you want the manager to succeed.
100%, because what people don't realise, that sporting director's actually put him in, has actually hired him as well. So it looks good when he's doing well as well. My thing is this, like, as a sporting director, okay, you're right. You're going out, you're doing the work, bringing the players in, doing your due diligence, having meetings away, trying to find out what kind of character they are, etc. You're identifying, you're putting them together, but ultimately the day-to-day and who's going to play and setting the culture and setting the relationships and the communication and the tactics and etc. is the coach. So now when you're trying to dictate that as well, it now becomes a a clash of heads.
That's it. There has to be a harmony.
Yeah, there has to be a harmony, you know.
But
And
if you're,
there has, you know what, there has to be trust.
but that's it. If your sporting director is telling you, like, dude, play a 4-3-3, see how it goes, and they played a 4-3-3 and they win a game.
Mm.
It seems like Amorim's, for example, intention just to revert straight back and then lose a game looks like one of the most dumb decisions in football history. Certainly it is now, because completely avoidable. Totally avoidable. But anyway, Amorim is now history. Who is next in?
I ain't got a clue. We've been talking.
Neither does Jim Ratcliffe or Omar Barada. They don't know. Their owner, the guy who invested a load of money, a lot, he got no clue. He's talking about Amorim being there in 18 months' time, only 3 weeks ago. So I can guarantee you, they don't have anybody lined up. This is not a genius plan. This is not, oh, somebody's come on the market, he's available, we're going to level up. Hell no. No. This is crap. We've got to pay off someone else. And everything that they were alluding to in the January window as well is that they don't have any pennies to spend, Kaz.
Mm.
I think they've blown their budget in the summer.
And what we're forgetting as well is that his other teams aren't doing too great as well, right? So he's got
Nice, Nice had just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
he's got a lot of football problems.
Football headaches for Jim Radcliffe at the moment. So, I mean, listen, every time that one of the big jobs becomes, or bigger jobs, shall we say, with respect, becomes available, Iraola from Bournemouth comes up in the conversation. Thomas Frank used to come up in the conversation. How's that going at Spurs?
Not going, I think, as well as he would like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Not at all.
So, I mean, we've got Oliver Glasner.
I want to say to you, I'm not one of them ones that say to you, look, I told you so.
I am.
You are, yeah, I'm not, because there's so many different factors. But I just said to everybody, it's not going to be as black and white as the last coach was just terrible in your eyes. I don't think it's as much. Like, there's so much change. Like Levy's gone. There's just so much change over there. Like Ange's gone.
I think the biggest factor for Thomas Frank has been the fact that Daniel Levy has gone. And I think in any club, it's always massively underappreciated how much that figurehead, that person who leads the charge, is responsible for the overall feeling of the club. How everybody carries themselves in that club, what the expectations are. It's not just within those football departments.
Every
it's
department.
Absolutely every single department. And when you have those changes, standards can slip, things change, people's job changes, people have different preferences, there's always a turnover. And when there is that turnover, there's instability in a club. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest markers for success in any club is stability.
Yeah.
The fact that it's the same people doing the same jobs who are allowed to incrementally improve what they're doing. And those are two things that we can say that, well, specifically Chelsea and Manchester United have not had. Their turnover of managers has been massive. The clubs who,
before that wasn't.
It wasn't. I mean, listen, Chelsea have always chopped and changed.
Yeah.
They've aimed for stability, but I think we're in an era now whereby that manager, that head coach, who's not a manager anymore, let's face it. At Manchester United, at Chelsea, you're not a manager, you're a head coach. And that head coach is interchangeable.
Yep.
And I don't think it really matters.
And I think if you're going into that job now, like we just said, you have to understand you're not the final say anymore.
No.
I think you have to understand that. And I'm not saying it's good or bad.
But you are the final say publicly, which I still find weird. You know what I mean? There should be more.
And that's why,
more club narratives.
And that's why more people should be talking like who. But when you understand why they're not though, because then it becomes that the coaches are interchangeable very easily. Whereas when people publicly think or hear the actual person, now he becomes on the line or she becomes on the line.
I think it's very, because of the media responsibility. So every Thursday afternoon, the manager has media responsibilities. That's
Mm.
where he'll have to fulfill his interview duties. So most media outlets, when they've got a TV package, a Sky or a Five Live, whoever they are, you then have media responsibilities as a club that you have to fulfill. It includes post-match interviews, for example, and pre-game interviews on that Thursday. And a lot of managers get them horrifically wrong, in my personal opinion.
Mm.
They are giving away too much information. They are, I mean, you can't win, by the way.
Can't
That's-
see. I
that's
come.
the reality
See,
of
me being obviously played in certain countries, you in certain countries that I played, the media are there every day. Training's open. They know your team before.
Different, right?
It's different, yeah. So I understand here, and everything's secret. And Friday's closed. Thursdays maybe closed. It's big, man. In Brazil, for example, the media's there Monday to Friday. They see the starting 11 doing their
Doing the
The
shape,
shape.
work. They're reading the notes.
Yeah, you understand what I mean. So for me, I get what you're saying. I think it's more of like you're saying the actual interview on a Friday or Thursday or before the Champions League.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are getting it wrong. But do you know what? Do you know what I say by they're getting it wrong? I think the pressure gets to them a little bit because you see the start, right? They're very well spoken. It was like, oh, he's
Oh, listen, when Ruben Amorim
Everyone loved
started
it.
at Manchester United, the guy was tanned, he was well dressed, he looked $1 million. The geezer was, you know what I mean? He was smooth. The kind of guy, you know, he walks into the bar, he's going to get a table. He's going to get served every single time. If you look at him now, he's an absolute ghost. He's a ghost of a human being. But I just think that what we do, you know, there is that payoff. Basically, you have very, very little sympathy for the poor multimillionaire. It's how it goes down, right? Now they put themselves through the most unbelievable pressures.
100%. People don't understand.
They make themselves sick, right?
Yeah, they don't understand. It's 24. You got like you're in charge of like 50, 60 people. You got to think of every single detail. You go home, you don't see your missus, you don't see your wife.
When it's going
And I'm
badly,
not saying when it's going bad.
it is
That's
the
what I mean.
worst position
People
to
don't
be
care. Like
in
they're
the
like,
world.
I see it all the time. Oh, I'd happily be sick for 100 grand a week. Like, I'd chop my foot. No, you wouldn't. Stop talking rubbish. No, you wouldn't. And we said that before. It sounds great. It sounds great, but there has to be, you know, like, and I'm not saying poor old whoever, but there has to be a bit of understanding and empathy into like the job's not easy, and it always seems easier when you are winning. That's like anything in life,
let's
right?
break it down. The job's not easy. The job's not easy, right? Pick a team.
You pick a team.
Yeah, but pick a team. There we go.
Arsenal.
That's no. But genuinely, that's the manager job, right? Pick a team. There we go.
Oh, okay. If he's telling me to,
I've
pick
got
a
my
team,
assistant.
right.
Assistant, you do training, recruitment. You do recruitment. You guys get busy. Thank you.
I said, stop
Thank
it,
you.
man. We don't need people like you
Thank you.
spitting this narrative. Man. That is absolute rubbish. Yeah, rubbish. No one believes.
You know what?
he's
You know
talking
what?
about.
You know what? In very, very isolated cases,
Yeah.
that is a reality.
It's not a reality.
That in very
let me ask you a
isolated
question.
cases, in very isolated questions, you get
No, like here, hold on. Now you're talking about isolated cases of someone like Carlos Ancelotti, but he's been through that whole process for 20 years to get to that point, to be able to have an absolute amazing guy who does the training, an absolute amazing guy like who does etc. and he can be the guy building relationships and do that. But he's gone 20 years having to break his neck to get to that, right?
Thank you for highlighting that
Okay.
I was correct with that one.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
you're
Thank
talking
you.
about
Thank you.
you're talking about the 0.0000000, if that's even a number, 1%. Like, let me ask you a question, Mr. Seb. I know everything. Okay, you got 25 players tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. How long does your session plan take?
Am I brand new at the club?
Say again.
Am I brand new in at the club?
I don't care about all of them. Just
How
tell
long
me.
does my session plan?
How long does your session plan? But you're playing. Check this. You just lost.
I'll be honest with you, okay? My session plan.
Go on.
So off the back of having lost that previous game anyway,
Yeah.
I know 90% of what my session plan is going to be off the back of what we need to work on from that previous weekend.
Okay.
Not really bothered about the opposition that we're going to be playing,
Mm-hmm.
because as you say, when it comes to doing a scout, for example, so the pre-match analysis of an opponent, and you'll focus on their set piece taker, for example. So, this team that we're playing next week, he's got 15 assists from set pieces, and the guy's not playing. So, like you said earlier on.
Yeah, but you still need to be prepared, Seb.
So in that preparation time, anyway. But that's what I'm saying is that I prepare my team for what my
you
weaknesses
should worry
are.
about your
So-
team. But I'm
so
saying to you, what's
90%
your
of it done.
yeah? But how long does that take you? I'm asking
long
you a
does it
question.
take me?
The night before. How
How
long
long
does
will
that
it take
take
me? It will take me about half an hour.
I just like to say this. Seb Ewan is talking absolute
No, I'm efficient.
rubbish.
I'm efficient.
He's talking rubbish.
I'm
Alright then,
efficient.
so you've took
Like
half an hour.
research
Hold
for
on,
the
hold
show
on,
takes
hold
me
on.
like 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, that proves. It proves. Hold on, let's go for it because people don't understand. So let's go for it. It takes you half an hour.
Okay, no.
Alright, so you got 25
your
guys.
session plans, basically. You'll hand it over to your assistant manager. We'll hand it over to the first team coach. We'll hand it over
Where's he
to the-
think he's managing?
Hand it over to the
Hey,
analysis
where's he
guy.
think he's managing?
Can I just say?
Hey,
can I
Real
just
Madrid
say-
top of the
can
league
I
with
just
20
say,
points.
This is based upon the reality of what I know. This is based upon what I have seen. This is not made up.
Listen to what
This
I'm
is
saying.
not made up.
Hold
That's
on, hold
the
on.
truth.
So
That's the
you're
truth.
saying you're saying everything's passed on to someone, right? Okay. Let's give that.
Eventually, you know what I
But
mean?
eventually, what happens?
You got the lady in the canteen. She's there doing the plans.
Eventually, you get found out.
100%.
Eventually, you get
100%.
found out.
That's true.
Right? Because that's rubbish. I'm not saying managers don't pass on things because that's why you got people in jobs, right? You try and find the best and you try to build
That's
the
why
best. team.
Liverpool are where they are.
Right.
Yes, on the slot.
But
Yes.
you, as the head coach, still need to know every individual person's job. Everything. You still need to know that. So, for example, if you are the type of manager, because I like managers, I like the Carlos Ancelottis, right? I like the Jose Mourinho's. I like the Neil Warnocks. I know it's really catastrophically different, but I like that.
But
I like the Fatty
they're
Terrims.
not so different. They are.
No, I mean just characters.
perception.
Right.
In terms of perception,
I
but
like
if you
that,
see
right?
what they do within the club,
Okay.
very similar.
But they still need to be on every meeting and understand what James is going to give in the analysis meeting. So he still needs to be there. It still takes 2 hours of going through what James is going
But
to
you're
give.
100% right as well.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
You have to have that analyst in place that you trust 100%, and you think he's good. He's actually seeing
Yeah,
the
but
stuff
you
that
s-
I'm seeing
but
on the
you s-
pitch, and you let him do it because
For example,
he's
yeah.
demonstrated that
100%.
capacity as
But
well.
you still need to know what's going on because you still need to give little flybys and little pointers in the
But
meetings
listen,
and
you know,
etc.
you know,
right?
I'm taking a piss as well.
No, I know
So
you
you're
are.
just taking
But
a
I'm just
piss.
saying
But
to the
in
general
order to pick
consensus.
that team, you need to know the players.
Right.
You
So
need
again,
to, you won't be taking training, but the reason why you're not focused on training is you're watching how the players are performing during that session in relation to
1,000,000%,
what
and
you're
I
asking them to
absolutely
do
agree with that.
weekend.
But you still need to know what's going on, right? And I give you this. So you think you got, let's go 25 players is quite a lot, but let's go 25 players, okay? 2 call in sick. Yep.
Fine then,
3 are late.
triple fines.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on.
It's just
And
in
then
there, mate.
medical team comes to you and is like, you know what? Heselinho, whatever his name is, come in. His knees hurt, and you know what? I think we should just do it. So now that's 6 players gone.
Okay.
Hold-
Let me counteract
No,
very
you can't.
quickly.
Let me finish. Hold on. So now that's 6 players. Now you got 19. And 1 goalkeeper, he's come, as he's doing warm up, he's landed on his
And
wrist.
you're not having 4 or 5 players in your squad anyway as well. And it can be that the 4 that you like are injured, yeah?
Right? Now you got to shout 21s. 21's got a game. Now you got to shout 18s,
Mhm.
etc., right? And you do get the say because it's always mandated up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens now? Your 30-minute, which I think it would have took you way longer than 30 minutes. But your session plan now is gone to, like, as we would say in the Caribbean, doo-doo. Yes, it's gone to absolute rubbish now.
Well,
and now you're
that can
pulling.
happen as well, is that if your numbers change by 1, and you're doing something that
So
involves
your
a set
session
number,
was
you're
for
like,
your right back, Helsinho, which we just said. Helsinho's coming, he's sick. So what now happens to your session plan? And this is not like a once. This is not, guys. This is not something I'm just saying that doesn't. It's a regular thing. right? It's a consistent thing, right? So you could have had, right, we need to do, let's say it's your right back, stopping the crosses coming in, and then transition to breaking out, for example.
Yeah.
But your right back's injured. Your left back is injured, or
I'm a
whoever it might
big
be. What we
believer
doing?
in youth, Kaz, so I'm just popping them up as well. Because within my club as well, as
I
part of the
get that,
manager, what I do is I ensure every single youth team is playing to that aspired system, which is in that first team. So you can
Yes.
pop.
Yes, I hear what you're
Pop them
saying. 100%. You listen. You can still just pull up because you're the head coach of the first team.
And
Hold on.
additionally,
Hold
this is
on.
the point I want to say earlier. I don't trust my medical staff.
Hold on.
You're wrong, medical staff.
Yeah, you're wrong,
He's
but
fit.
but he's got
can
an
play.
ACL.
He's telling me he can play.
Hold on.
He's having his ACL.
His
Hip
ACL's
gone.
hanging off.
Like, yeah, hip replacements
Hey.
in both area.
His MCL,
Just give me
ACL,
an injection, I'll
PCL.
be fine. Give me an injection.
His MCL, ACL, PCL, and he's got a swollen, I don't know, ankle as well. Like everything's just busted, but you're not believing in your medical team. All jokes aside,
Hey, but if the player tells me he can play for me, he wants to play for me, let him play.
hey, we can't
Let
have
him
a
play.
serious conversation. Listen to what I'm saying though. I know you can still just take from the youth team because you're the head coach, right? Because it's very different if you was a youth team coach, like
They're all
18
beautifully
months.
prepared already.
I hear that.
Yeah.
But you specifically done this for what you saw on Saturday for
From
your
that
starter
other guy, yeah.
who's starting again.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks like there's not variables. There's variables to everything. And,
Okay, so the solution to that one, very simply for me, is that whilst there was a problem area, that's not the start or the end of any problem. So with this player, where was he out? Where was he in?
Okay.
What was the issue around it? So you can still have that session, but you make it more of a group aware session. That way my 30-minute prep time became 31. I just move with it, Kaz.
there's always a
That's
solution,
exactly
right?
it.
And I'm just saying this to make you understand. First of all, and we get off this subject, it's not taking him 30 minutes to plan, prepare a session. It's not. I know what he's talking about. Even if
I
you,
feel a
even
test
if you
coming
delegate
on.
it, even if you delegate it to your 3-4 staff, it's not taking.
Gemini, how long does it take to create a session plan?
Who's Gemini?
I found this on the web.
Oh, like 30 minutes.
Where does it say that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway, let's go.
That's fine. Right, we still haven't had a clear answer on it. Who is the next Manchester United or Chelsea manager? Chelsea manager currently at the moment, Callum McFarlane. That household name.
Why are you doing that?
Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Because nobody's ever heard of him.
So-
We had to ask each other 8 times, what is the name of the current Chelsea manager? What's his name? What's his name? And if you are going to appoint Liam Rossignol because he's at your sister club already and because there's no compensation payment to be paid,
Seb, you always do that. Go on.
what? I always speak the financial truth, Kazim. Is that the problem? Is it the problem that I actually reveal the real story
No.
going on behind it? Is that the problem?
Listen to what you're doing.
Oh, look at Liam, Liam, Strasbourg. Liam, we're going to bring you all these other sort of Chelsea B players as well because we need a landing pad for these people who cannot get the UK work permit, who don't qualify for GBE. So we're going to create this sister club.
Yeah, which is
Very
great
much like
business.
Manchester City have
Great
done
business,
as well.
yes or
Great
no?
business.
Okay.
Great business.
Yeah, but you're
now.
saying
Wait,
it like it's not
wait.
great business.
Wait. So, you have Strasbourg.
Hey,
Strasbourg.
2026 is good.
Strasbourg, Le Menu, okay? So Strasbourg, historic French club.
Yes.
In the doldrums. Ligue 2 club, basically. They went down. Mark Keller came in, rescued the club for like £1, basically. Club is on its knees. No money. And the French Football League, as we know, has kaput. No TV deal whatsoever. They're screwed. They're all relying on TV money. They're all about to go bust. Foreign investment comes in. Do you want some money? Yes, please. Otherwise, we're going to go financially bust. What are Strasbourg's expectations? If we don't get relegated, that's amazing. Okay, brilliant. Here's loads of massively increased player potentials signed at the club. We've got a much better squad now. Everything in terms of the level has augmented. Liam Rossignol, manager comes in. Here we go. You've got stability. You've got time. Take your time. No problem. No pressure whatsoever. And Liam Rossignol, as a result of having that massively improved squad,
He had the 4th biggest budget in the league. So
which Strasbourg never anywhere near.
Okay.
Never anywhere near. You know, you've got Lyon, you've got Lille, you've got Rennes, you've got Nice, you've got PSG.
Marseille.
Strasbourg never, Marseille as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Strasbourg historically would have been like 16 to
Now Paris
20th
FC
as well. massive clubs like Saint-Etienne who've gone as well. So Strasbourg, the expectations were here.
Yeah.
They bring in players that are there, and Liam Rosenior takes them there.
Yeah. So
And-
that's good coaching, because he still had to manage all that.
Yes, he has done an acceptable job. I think
Acceptable.
an acceptable job with those players.
Seb, come on, man.
An acceptable job with those players. Listen,
He's
if
done
you have
and higher. He weren't expected.
look at
to-
what
to
Claudio
do what he
Ranieri.
did.
Look at Claudio Ranieri at Leicester City. That was the greatest surprise.
But you can't compare it to that, man. That's
I
like
just did.
that's crazy.
I just
You
did.
can't compare nothing to that. That's like never ever happening again. That's like you.
But that's my point. My
That's
point
like
is,
you
my
becoming
point is, my point is that
hold
that
on a
season,
second. That's like you getting signed by Chelsea tomorrow and scoring 15 goals in the Prem. That's not never. That is never ever happening.
Do you know?
Hold on.
I
Hold
never
on.
thought I'd be actually emotionally hurt by you.
Yeah, it's never happening. I don't care. Listen, we can do one of those little imaginary films that people like to watch. You know, that film with Bow Wow where he gets Michael Jordan's trainers and he turns
It's
into
just
this
going to
greatest
become a
NBA.
monologue. This, go for it.
I'm just
whatever.
saying,
Whatever.
like, no, you can't
Not
compare
gonna
it to
play for
that.
Chelsea,
He
right?
done above expectation, yeah, because he still had to manage all that. He still, like you
So
said,
Ranieri we're talking about.
no.
Oh, sorry.
Ranieri was out as well.
Rosenior
It's the
was
greatest one season in all sports.
Okay, so he
Yeah.
improved the level of those players for that particular season. Did miracles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what happened the next season?
I'm not asking
Okay,
you about that.
so
Next,
I'm
next
just
one I
saying.
want to talk about is Bournemouth.
No, can I
Iraola.
finish my? Hold
Iraola.
on a second.
No,
Can
no,
I- hold on.
Let me finish.
See,
the
you
point
want me
I
to
wanna make.
lose my chain of thought
No!
like, on Liam? Hold on a
I'd
second.
never be like
Hold
that.
on a second, because you're saying. I just want to say this, and we go on to it because I do believe what you're saying in drips and drabs. But
yeah.
for what he did, so we're just talking about Chelsea. You got to remember, he probably wasn't asked about. You know, now we're speculating, and I don't like to do that. And but let's just say, through what we see, he probably wasn't asked about, do you want this player, do you want that player? He was just sent. Yes? Do you think he was asked?
Ranieri.
No, we're not talking about Ranieri.
I'm still on Ranieri.
No, we're talking about Liam.
Liam Rosenior would have had absolutely zero say in
Okay.
any of the players
And
who came
then,
in.
and
They'd have
then,
kept him a million miles away, actually.
to do what he...
Strasbourg Stadium is just
See?
across the way from
Hey,
the
this guy
There's a
don't...
little cafe in there. They'd have sent him in there.
Hey, mic check, is my mic working? Hey, because you know, right? And to still do what he's done, yeah, with probably having no say on any player that's coming his way, even though they're, listen, André Santos is top player, okay? The striker that Chelsea have bought off of Strasbourg,
Listen,
the Dutch boy.
every single one of the players
Are
that they
good players.
have brought in
Top.
is way above the historical level that
hear
Strasbourg
that.
have ever
But
spent.
he still
this is
had
not
to-
a buying club,
He
it's a
still
developing
had
club.
to put them all on that pitch to
Okay,
bring out their
okay,
qualities.
okay.
And still,
I accept
I
that,
say
I accept
why
that, but
is
the
because he
one
wasn't
point-
at Chelsea.
All right, the one point I
didn't
will
have people
draw the
coming in.
comparison is F1, okay? F1.
Right, go on.
That season, we're going to go back to my friend Ranieri. Ranieri won the world championship in like a Williams today, right? One of the worst teams, one of the worst car. That's what Ranieri did,
Right.
okay? And we have, let's say, you got Lando Norris. Lando Norris is currently in the best car, and he's winning everything as well. And that, for me, is the kind of seat that Liam Rosenior
No,
got
it's not. 'cause
at Strasbourg.
He weren't in the best
Sorry.
car. He weren't in the best car.
Sorry.
Listen, I'm not being
The
here
best
being
car
a
that team
defender
has
of Liam
ever
Rosenior.
had.
I'm
The
just
best
being
car
set
that
the
team has
facts.
ever had.
Also, now it's the best car that the team's ever had.
If you
Bro,
allow me to
hold
finish
on a
one
second.
sentence, Kaz.
That's like you drive. That's like you driving a 1985 Polo, yeah, and then upgrading
1.6 or 1.4?
the 1.2, and then getting a 1990 Polo. Like, for example, it's the best car that you've ever had. It's not the best car that is driving on the road. So what I'm saying to you is, you still have to respect what he's done. And the reason why I believe he was able to do what he was able to do is because he probably didn't have someone standing over him 24/7 and coming down at half time if he would have let me finish. What I'm saying to you is, yes or no? Right? So he was left to be able to, right, you have to take these players, now you find the best way possible. Now, going to Chelsea is going to be a bit of a difference. Every day,
Just a bit.
you know what I'm saying. And Ranieri, listen, the best one season in football history.
Mhm.
in sports history, like you got Americans, they like to say that blah blah.
World champions, yeah.
Nah, no.
Yeah.
This is the greatest sporting campaign
Yeah.
in history. Like to go, like to do what you did, yeah, amazing. So I just like to state that, but it's nothing alike.
Okay. Maybe comparing it to the McLaren was a bit bold, but I will say that yeah, he's in a Red Bull. He's in a Red Bull. He's like the drivers at Tsunoda, who finished way at the bottom as well, when they were near better. Anyway,
Seb.
I just got to make the point. So it's crystal clear.
Okay.
So it's crystal clear. It is January, and the transfer window has officially opened. There's an awful lot of Brazilians coming to the UK. West Ham have got the latest Brazilian in, another one, Pablo Felipe as well.
Yeah.
Cafu is going to be tearing his hair out. Basically, the Premier League is becoming Serie A again, isn't it? It's Campeonato. Are we going to start having regional league tournaments in England as well, just to keep our Brazilian players happy?
You're such a.
Is that what we're going to do?
So why are you making it so personal?
I'm just on it for the new year. You know what I mean? So yeah, Pablo Felipe, Nicholas Füllkrug has gone to AC Milan. I think he's gone. I'm not sure. We need to check that one. But pretty sure he's gone. So Füllkrug was pretty ineffectual at West Ham, but I don't think he ever got into a run of form. He's going to go to Milan, score them goals. They'll finish second. Napoli will win that. Who needs what? Who needs what? Liverpool need quite a lot.
You always why is Liverpool your first go to? You always.
Why is
did they
Liverpool my first go to?
What
Because
do you
I
need?
watched them playing over the weekend, and I'm thinking,
Was it yesterday? No.
oh, you're some distance away. You're some distance.
You say
away.
there's some distance. Where are they sitting? Fifth, fourth?
No, I mean some distance away from Jurgen Klopp's team, from the team that absolutely was destroying people last season. They have lost an incisiveness. They've lost an intensity. And they seem to have lost quite a lot of belief. Arne Slot is not inspiring. So where do they need to sign players? They strengthened the forward line. Midfield looks okay, right? Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Curtis Jones. They've got a decent midfield. Kirkes has struggled a little bit. Wirtz, I think, is much maligned and is probably their form player at the moment as well. Backline needs looking at, right? Still.
Yeah, everyone knows it does. Everyone knows it does. Man, I keep saying it. I know everyone keeps talking about the players that are here. We got a player that's won Serie A, playing in big, absolute massive team. Transition is from here. Tomori's there, man.
He's your shout, right?
I just think it makes so much sense in terms like Tomori, like. If Tomori's playing here in this country, let me ask you a question. Serious question. If Tomori's playing in this country, is he in England 11?
I think he's going to get England 11, no England squad, possibly.
England never know.
England 11.
Who starts
I don't
before
think
him?
So. I think Mark Gehi.
You like Mark Gehi better than Tomori?
I think on current form and from what I've seen, to be honest with you,
Current form, that's a big shout, you know. Like Tomori's like playing the best he's ever played. Right
I haven't honestly seen him play enough this season.
That's
to
my
make
point,
it.
right?
But Thomas Tuchel, I think that he will be directly in his thoughts because he's a known player to him. Thomas Tuchel has also managed in a number of different countries. He's aware of the size of the club of AC Milan. You know, he's been around the Champions League a lot.
I just think it's very easy to be like out of sight, out of mind.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely,
in general
but
what we do
we've
over here.
discussed there's obviously the sort of delicate situation around it, but purely in football terms, Mason Mount has been absolutely incredible. Sorry, Mason Mount. Greenwood. He's been brilliant at Marseille. Absolutely brilliant. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, it's an easy one, isn't it? Yeah,
an
especially
easy
with
one.
everything that went on, it's
With
an
all
easy one.
the history
But
as well.
listen, for me, and you know, I watch any football that's on TV. If there's a game, I'm watching it. I love watching.
Did you manage to watch the Blackburn game?
I did watch the Blackburn game. I
was
was
a hard
I
watch,
was at
man.
Bradley Johnson's house.
It was a hard watch, right?
It was a tough watch. It's a tough watch. Obviously, I played at Blackburn. I enjoyed my time there. Like I really like my time there. I think it's a hard watch for a few different reasons. The type of football. Obviously, their squad is mad. It's very depleted at the moment. It is. But also like the upkeep, like the pitch that you're going to play on, like your championship's like absolute massive league as well.
Yeah, Ewood Park
Blackburn's
looks like it hasn't changed since Alan Shearer signed.
Not just Ewood Park, like even the pitch.
Yeah, but the whole thing just
yeah,
seemed a little bit tired, right?
You know, and I do believe they deserve more.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve more. It was a tough watch, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think Blackburn's issue again is something that we've spoken about is manager stylistics. You've gone from having a football playing squad basically who like the ball on the ground to a very, very combative Veladina Ismail
Plus,
team.
plus, it's a question I would like to know. What is the actual plan? You know, like the directorship of the club, the direction.
The directorship.
Yeah, do you want to get promoted? Do you not want to get promoted?
Fullbacks go long.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that because that is, you know, each coach to their own. What I'm saying is
It's a very polite way of you saying I really don't like that style of football.
Not if for me, listen, the game dictates, right? There's certain times you gotta go in behind. It's fine. You don't just get the ball and go boom. Okay, let's work second, thirds, fourths. Like for me, it's worked for him.
Earn the right to play football.
No,
But
but
can we just pass it?
But
Can we just pass it to each other?
he's been successful at other places where he's done that.
Having had a rugby squad at his disposal.
Now, don't disrespect the players, Seb. Come on. But yes, having players that were more inclined with that way of playing.
Really big shoulders, basically. I call it the Popeye look. It's where you're basically looking at the guy in the lineups and you see these massive bulbous shoulders and you think, yeah, you gotta earn the right to play today, lads.
Nah. I tell you what.
Tell me you haven't heard that phrase.
Yeah, I've heard that phrase, but yeah.
I did listen.
I've heard that phrase, but what I'm saying to you is this. You know, like, the one thing about his team that was really hard to play against, I've said this before, his team were very intense. Like, very intense. Like, as soon as that ball went, so I'm looking, say it's goalkeeper or centre-back, like I'm facing him. As I watch that ball go over my head, as I look there, the centre-backs are halfway behind. Very intense. I don't see that now.
No, it completely
you know, it's very
had previously as well. And
yeah,
again,
it's very different. It's very like anti-climaxy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like what are you going to expect when your
But that's
fans
the
are coming
back
in?
line is there purely to defend. They're not part of the build-up.
Yeah. So the expectation, I mean, like from what are you? What's the aim? I don't know what the aim is at Blackburn anymore. Is it just to stay in the league and it's happy? Is it not to get relegated, or is it to try and get promoted? I don't know. And I think that's the biggest issue that needs to be
addressed there.
Be addressed. Yeah, I just don't know. Is it okay? You okay with staying? Because you know, before this season, every year there was kind of at a point there was like top playoffs.
They were going, weren't they?
And then they just fall off, you know, and to see no disrespect, to see their biggest rivals always getting promoted, progressing, new training ground.
It's gotta hurt.
Say again?
It's gotta hurt.
It has to hurt. It has to hurt the fans. It has to hurt the owners. You know, seeing your main rivals progressing, like we said, even the way that they're buying players. You know, they're attracting different types of players now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, my little pal who was at Corinthians with me, Lucas Pereira, he's there. You know, which is like that. Never heard of in Burnley before, like 3, 4, 5 years, right? It's not just been today, but it's been a progression. So to see
Another
that,
Brazilian.
say again.
Another Brazilian.
I'm just using him as a.
I was just remarking. That was all.
Say
Nothing in
again.
there. Nothing in there. All right.
No, but hey, there's another Brazilian doing really well right now.
Which one?
Igor Thiago.
Yeah, hat trick. Hat trick of the weekend, right?
Hey,
Looking proper. But every team has one or two now, right? Previously, the
it's
Brazilian
rare.
was the rare
The rarest.
treat on the eye. You know, I still remember Middlesbrough to this day, for me, when is renowned for Juninho. You know.
Yeah, but then they did get Alves.
Oh, listen, true. Alfonso Alves. What a
Hey, listen, in Holland, he was. That was a. They done their work. Like to get him,
he was the form player in Europe.
But that's the
at the
difference
time.
between someone being in form and being the quality that you think they are.
Well, that was
That's
my
what I was
point
gonna
about
ask you
Mateta.
now.
That was my point about Mateta the other day. Is that I think he's had an absolutely fabulous season. Fair play to him.
Scored again. Well, not again. He scored at the weekend.
He scored at the weekend. Yeah. Did you see the goal?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you.
What do you mean? Do you remember the goal or do you remember the points and that he scored?
I remember the fact that I have looked at how he's playing, and he resembles the Mateta that I know and love.
Man, we can go. Listen, this guy.
Are you telling me that he played really well? Are you telling me that?
I'm not saying that he played really well. But
Okay,
what he
thank
did
you.
really
Thank
well.
you.
Hold on, is affected the game and helped his team. Did they win in the end?
No, they lost, didn't they?
Did they lose in the end?
Yeah, they lost.
Alright, I'll be quiet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
But again, my thing with Mateta is what if he becomes that player
Again,
that his profile
yeah.
does dictate, sorry, in terms of being that focal guy, bringing players into play, in terms of being in the box, being a nuisance, being hard to play against. Not that guy that wants to roll
getting
out.
picked, basically.
Not that guy that wants to roll out wide, pick up the ball and try and do step overs and
I'm a
whatever.
full French
He can
international
be
now.
one of the most feared in the league if he does that. Because you're
Or
looking
he
at
could get carried away and just slowly disappear into ignominy.
yeah, he can, and that's your argument, right?
No, I'm just saying that if you're signing Brennan Johnson, the ball's not coming in the middle anymore. He's shooting. So, I think that if your new starting colleague is going to be taking all the shots himself, that means that you're probably going to be floating out wide because the ball isn't coming in as much. That will be affecting you. And the way that he is playing stylistically, how he seems to have forgotten what got him the goals in the first place, which is shoulder, barge, batter.
Mateta came. Who was his players around him?
Eze and Elise.
And missing one big one as well. Zaha.
Zaha.
I think that's major. That's major. And that's no disrespect to anybody else that's playing, but those three are absolute big names. Big players, sorry.
Yeah.
Not big names.
I mean, I think
And
that
it's a big difference. It's a big difference.
If
And
you-
yes, as a player, sorry, you do need to take accountability. You do, 100%. But it is a big difference.
yeah, I mean, Palace basically have had a little bit of a drop off. They had an amazing year, the best year in Crystal Palace's history by some distance. But I think they've got a couple of hurdles to overcome. Club captain Mark Gehi, is he going to? I mean, he was on the verge of joining Liverpool in the summer, right?
Yeah.
It was so close to happening, and I think the Liverpool season would have been very, very different if they've had that competition in that centre back position, because it would have meant that possibly Konate would have been out the team, and having to work for his next move to Real Madrid, which is probably already agreed. So, it's difficult. The one player who I think Liverpool really should go for is Nodi Mukiele, the Sunderland. He was playing right back last night, right centre back. He can play 6 as well. Outstanding.
Oh, there's no chance they get him.
Absolutely outstanding.
There's no chance they get him.
Why?
Sunderland are right now very good at business. I don't think there's any chance.
I think they're very good at business, but I do not think they can stand in a way. You know what I mean? They've just been promoted. They've just been
That's
promoted.
irrelevant, man. The what they're building over there, I think is more important to them.
You know what? I think that they and Leeds recruited particularly well as well.
Man, Sunderland, I don't think you can compare the two. Like the way Sunderland recruited, the question marks that people, like you saw it, right? Like, like they went about their business quick, quietly, boom, 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 knew exactly what they wanted.
14
and
or
did it.
15 players, I
And
think,
look out.
in the end as well. You know.
But you know what they did well? Do you know what Sunderland did really, really well? So let's take the abilities away. Let's take the characters they got.
Mhm.
Yeah, me knowing Granite personally, there were a lot of clubs that should have went and bought him,
You know what?
and they pulled the trigger quick.
With Xhaka, when he was at Arsenal, he was never my favourite player. I think, you know, with retrospect now,
You understood what he was doing, right?
there was an awful lot of issues within the club that he was actually masking. You know, would have arguably been worse without him. And I think that, you know, in many,
Yeah.
you know, he became a hate figure for a lot of fans at Arsenal.
Because it was
He much
easy. It was
derided.
easy, right? It was easy to have that perspective on him, though.
So you basically, you did your badges with him, right?
Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah.
What's he like?
He is generally one of the nicest people that you could meet. Very honest. I like people like very straight talking. Does what he says what he means. I know that's very
Jamie.
yeah, but he does. But you know what he is? He's an absolute winner. So what I mean by that doesn't mean he's gonna win every game. So it's a bit similar to and you always kind of take things back to yourself, right? But it's a bit similar to me. I never won every game, but my intention, everything I did,
Yeah.
his intentions all the time is for the best. How are we gonna win? He's willing to do whatever it takes to win. How he's gonna win? How am I gonna get you to help us to win? If you see at the end of the game when they drew 1-1 with City, was it City?
Mhm.
It was City, wasn't it?
Drew, yeah.
Yeah. When City's goalkeeper, what's his name?
Donnarumma.
Donnarumma. When he ran half the length to confront someone, the first one over there was who?
Xhaka.
Straight, get out of there. And he wasn't even worried about Donnarumma. Just talking to his boys, like, get him out of there. Let's go. You understand what I mean?
Managing the game, basically.
A manager on the pitch.
Mm.
You understand what I mean? And
Yeah.
people don't understand how important that is. You know, a lot of teams should have done that move before, but what happens is they get blinded by everybody else's perspective.
Well, Brentford.
Because
Brentford
nobody
made-
likes you know my thing. Nobody appreciates things like that until it's gone. I think Arsenal fans realise that for a little while. Arsenal doing amazing now, yes. But do you know what happens? And I found that in my career a lot. Where the other team and everybody else hate you because you're doing what you're supposed to for your team, that kind of becomes the general perspective of who you are.
Mhm.
So because everyone probably hated him, hated playing against him, hated that he was the first there and would be the first to tell you and would be the first one to stand up when the team lost always.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first one there. He'd give the interview. People didn't like it, right? So then you get that the perspective that I don't want him in my team. But when he's in your team and he goes, you see the loss. No disrespect. Look at Leverkusen now.
Yeah. Big trouble. We've got Brentford, who made the signing of Jordan Henderson as well.
Yeah.
Similarly, at Brighton, you've got James Milner in there as well to shore things up. Is that arguably what the clubs like Manchester United and Chelsea
1,000,000%.
need? Because I'm looking at them. You know, we've gone through
1,000,000%.
We've gone through the teams. You know, I looked at Arsenal's bench this weekend was absolutely phenomenal. It goes back to what we've been saying about their squad at the start of the season. You had Saliba and you looked at the squad and said, this is so balanced, it's perfect. They can get through and they can cope with the injuries this time. Looking at Man United's bench at the weekend, they had the Fletcher brothers, whose daddy is now the manager as well. Guaranteed debuts.
Don't do that.
What? The truth?
Don't do that, man.
Are you telling me?
I've seen them
Are you
play.
telling me?
I'm
that
telling you now. Listen, go on.
You've got your boys on the bench, both of them there. They both get all right now.
So they both got there without their dad being there, right?
Okay, so
Right? Yes or no?
wait.
Okay, go on.
Wait. Now, when a young player signs his first professional contract, Mr. Kazim, as you would have done, what kind of bonuses do you get? Do you get bonuses for debuts and appearances? Yes, you do. Okay, you get bonuses for debuts and appearances, right?
Okay.
Now, if you're a younger player,
Yeah.
some of these bonuses can be quite tasty. Often there'll be a lot more than your weekly wage to
100%.
get you up into
Yeah.
that position. So it
Yeah.
means if you go on a run of 15 games, you'll be remunerated like a really low paid but a first team player.
Okay.
Now, if you knew that your family as a whole had 2 contracts in this club, surely as their father you'd say 50% goes to daddy, you two both get 15 appearances in the next few weeks.
I said get out of here.
Come on.
Seb,
all
get
right.
out of
If
here,
your if your debut bonus
Seb,
as
stop
well,
it.
you
Don't
can
even
get like
put that in the
25 bags.
listen, don't,
That-
I rebuke
Fletcher
that.
could be walking away.
I rebuke
He
that.
could be walking away with 25 G's in his pocket, just like that. You know what I mean?
So
what
you're-
happens? You
No.
know who's been training really, really well. You know those Fletcher boys. I like the look of them.
Seb, stop. This is Seb's banter, people. He can't really believe that. Listen, yes, when they was maybe under 7s, under 8s, because they're Fletcher's sons, you have a look at my boys, maybe, but on merit, they are where they are. Because, like, listen, I saw them last year. I saw one of them. I can't remember which one it was. Because I don't know their first names. I think he's the 10. He played the FA Youth Cup against Arsenal last year. And he was on a lot. He was doing a lot. So I don't know the ins and outs, but I would never go along with what you're saying in terms of, listen, we need to get him on the bench because I need 50% and them two getting 25 each.
So I'm just thinking in the future now,
Go on.
if Kazim Jr.,
Which he will.
your boy, is
Yeah.
ever in a situation whereby, and he's thinking, you know what, Pops has just got a job here. Yeah, I'm gonna get my minis. I'm gonna get my debut. I'm gonna get my signing on.
No,
and then
That's not
Daddy's
what I'm
over there
saying.
saying, you know what, son?
That's
I
not what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
I don't think I've seen it from you in
That's not
training
what I'm saying,
this
because
week.
there's a lot of coaches being in that situation that have, but I think their sons have had.
Alex Bruce.
No, their sons. Leave them alone. Their sons have had a certain trajectory before their dads become head coach. So, for example, Van Persie's son, he gave him his debut, 4 weeks ago, was it?
His dad gave him his debut.
His dad gave him his debut. But, yeah, but bro, he has been on a trajectory of that before his dad even took the job. So being in the first team, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Hold on, Zinedine Zidane, right?
Enzo, goalkeeper, couldn't play outfield because of comparisons.
Like,
No, but
this
I-
guy, bro.
It's true though, right?
It's not.
The
Listen,
name
certain
weighs heavy, right? The name
It
weighs heavy.
does, and it should. That's what dads and mums are trying to do.
Fletcher's
is
name less heavy than
give
some.
opportunity and give security to their kids that we never had, right? But they have to go now and earn that. So you give them, you're able to get them an opportunity, right? And then they have to earn it off merit to be able to do what they're doing. There's no way that I believe that them two are on the bench because you're saying Fletcher's become, what has he even become, by the way, over there?
He'll be the Callum McFarlane of Manchester United. You're going, who's Callum McFarlane? It's the Chelsea manager.
No, I didn't say that because I know who
Your
Callum
eyes were
McFarlane
just
is.
like looking.
No, I know who he is.
I had to read.
And
I've got no
so-
idea who Callum McFarlane is.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm so happy that was able to happen because it shows that, you know, maybe there needs to be a new breed, a new
Interim.
a new lease of life into
Interims
coaching
are the way forward,
young
though.
players. We're the only country that does not give pathway to young coaches. We are.
Well,
If you look at Liam, where's Liam gone to get this opportunity? He'd had to go out.
yeah, but
right?
speaking of young coaches, Martin O'Neill proved why young coaches shouldn't be trusted.
Why?
Because Mr. Nancy, after everything,
Hey,
everything
don't
that we
clip
said last
none
week,
of this, you know.
after
Don't-
everything that we said last week, Wilfred Nancy, can I just ask what kind of system did he play? Was it with three at the back by any chance? Wilfred Nancy.
Okay, question for you.
Come on.
Middlesbrough coach, what's his name?
Hellberg.
How old is he? 36, 37. Okay. Brighton and Hove Albion coach. What's his name?
Pulitzer,
How old is he?
36.
Okay. Keith Andrews. How old is he?
He looks.
Hold on, forget, because you look about 70. Yeah. So don't even start that. Go on. How old is he?
Keith Andrews is about, I don't know.
41, 42. Yeah. So, and they're all
45.
doing well. How old is he?
45.
45. But he's relatively young.
Thank
He's
you.
done the
Thank
process.
you. 45 is relatively young. Thank you.
Yeah, but he
Thank you,
looks younger than
Hannah.
you.
You know why he looks younger
Yeah.
than me?
Liam
Because he
Messina,
dyes
how
his
old?
hair religiously.
Okay, cool.
Dyes his hair.
No, that's got nothing to
I'm
do with it.
honest. Nothing fake here.
You don't need to
Kazim.
bite. You don't
This
need
is
to
all
bite.
here. I
Hold
don't
on.
need just for men.
Quickly,
I've got just for me.
how old's Liam? 43? 42?
41.
41.
To your point is that he.
You're
has to go
saying
abroad.
Martin O'Neill proved that the young managers can't do it, but I'm saying you're using that one against many others. And if we go
Well,
around internationally,
Overall,
how old was Amorim?
I will actually take you to task on this one because overall, the median age of the manager
Yeah.
has massively decreased. Previously, managers were between 50s and 60s, and if you got the manager's job in your 50s, you were relatively young. You were the
That's
young
still
pup.
young, but I mean even younger.
Yeah, but the issue that you've got now is that more and more coaches are flooding in every single season from that squad of, like, let's say the retirees. Let's say there's 1,000 people that retire every single year. 900 of them will try and go into coaching. And the
Yeah,
following
what
year,
my
another 900.
thing is here
and the
in this
following year,
country-
another 900. And you've got a total
Yeah,
of jobs that are
I hear
available
that.
of 90, I don't know, 115 that people will go for.
Okay, let me ask you a question, right? And internationally, they do it more than we do it. And what I say we is our footballing system here. Okay, how many clubs here have a pathway for coaches that are under 18s to under 21s that are already the plan 5-6 years before that they're going to be head coaches of the club?
None of them.
And this is what I'm saying to you.
None of them.
So what happens is then we go out. We're like, oh, he's good. He's 30. Bro, you've had the same guy sitting there who's under 18s, 21s, and that's why I say I love that he came. I love that Callum was able to get a result, even though it's one game and it's a squad of, okay, he's got, no matter what you want to say, he's still got a great squad. He's gone up against one of the best and he's got a result. And for me, that shows that there should be a bit more coaching pathway in this country, respectfully. Because if you look at Benfica, always promoting, if you look at Sporting, if you look at Barcelona, I know he's not there now. He's the very rare one.
No, but I agree with the point that you're
Luis
making overall
Enrique.
is that I think that we place a lot of importance upon the name and the biography of the person coming towards the club.
So
that we
here then,
assume.
if Liam, and this is what I want to say, and if Liam was to have got Hull promoted the year that he got promoted,
we were very close, by the way, wasn't
it
it?
was very, very close, right? And he did move on to something that has turned out to be,
It was like a Maresca,
Yeah.
shall we say?
right? Would he have got that Chelsea? Would he be in line? Forget the compensation and stuff
Well, I
like
think
that. Take the
arguably,
business out
if
of
we
it.
look at the timeline, though, I think
Yeah.
that they would have been looking at both Maresca and Rossinha for that Chelsea job, because they were both doing a similar job when the wheels came off at Hull. Basically, a disagreement, left the club very quickly. Maresca ended up winning the championship with Leicester City, goes on to Chelsea.
So if they both would have got promoted at that time, like you just said,
Yeah.
let's say Maresca didn't.
Mhm.
Still, people were talking about the way he was playing football at Leicester. He's come from Man City.
He's come from
under
Manchester
Pep.
City,
Under
yeah,
Pep.
yeah.
He's got all these connections. You know, he knows Cole Palmer.
I love that
blah,
football
blah, blah.
by association, basically.
Right.
It's like if my
So-
mum basically made dinner for Pep Guardiola, she's now going to become a great
Right.
tactician.
Do you still think? And Liam got promoted. I'm telling you right now, they still would have took Maresca.
Yeah.
They still would have.
Yeah.
And that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying
listen,
about
I
him.
take the piss. Obviously, listen, he did a great job in France. He's done a fantastic job at Strasbourg. He has made them a real force. He's taken that club and he's made a real impact with it. I do think that the Chelsea fans themselves will be a little bit underwhelmed, but I don't think they were particularly overwhelmed by Maresca when he came in. And I think that, you know, it's difficult running a club and getting it right, but I don't know how they will fare. I think that their squad is very imbalanced still. I also think they're horrifically inexperienced. If you think about the the great Chelsea players, you know, and even those who won things with them. If you look at the likes of Ivanovic, if you look at the likes of John Terry, of Didier Drogba, Frank
That's
Lampard,
what
Makelele,
you're 100% right.
Paulo Ferreira, Carvalho, Arjen Robben, they had
John Terry.
leaders in every single area of the pitch. And if you look at Chelsea today, and who is that? You've got.
But
Cole
when
Palmer,
do we allow players to grow
you've
into
got
that?
Cole
though?
Palmer, who isn't necessarily that you know, battling figure. We talk of him as a maverick who's carrying the entire weight of that Chelsea team on him. So I just think that if Chelsea are to actually establish themselves properly, they need some players who are 26, 27 years old, who've been around the block a bit, who can give them 4 quality years. At the
Yeah,
top of
I
their
agree
career.
with you with that. They had that last year. They had that. They had Thiago Silva. They had that, right? And whatever happened, I don't know. He's decided. Yeah, amazing player, amazing character. Okay. I think you definitely need, and this is the argument I was having with you, not with you, this is the argument we was having with whoever listens, conversation as in argument, is that I understand about always bringing youth, but what happens to these experienced individuals that are able to have the communication on the pitch and able to guide them on the pitch, like a Granit Xhaka, like a Casemiro, for example. Okay, at the moment it's not going so well, but he's been probably their best player, right, this season, right, Casemiro. Okay, like a Gabriel at Arsenal, we can like a James Milner, like a Jordan Henderson. You need those type of players, like I was at Derby. You need those type of players because it's something that, you know, it goes directly in hand when you're on the pitch, when you're around the training ground. You know, they can talk to you. You understand how they're feeling. You know, they're looking at you. You're still one of their peers. It's not a coach like, oh, he's on me. Maybe you might not, but he's getting on me all the time. You know,
we
they're
had
taking it.
John O'Shea for a while as well. Lovely man, great human being, extremely successful in his club career.
Right.
You know, when he spoke, you listened basically.
Right, and my thing is, you still need that in football, and it's
Yeah.
great, and it looks amazing for the media and Instagram. You know, this young players coming through, and it's beautiful. But at the end of the day, you still need those experienced leaders on the pitch. You still need that.
We spoke about Manchester United and the pressures they are putting on particularly young players to be the solution. Rasmus Højlund last season.
I don't think it's Man United though, and I don't think it's Chelsea, and I don't think it's Arsenal. I think it's
not any specific club.
it's the media. It's everybody's expectation. When you buy someone for 100 million, or 60 million, or 70 million, he has to come in, start, and straight away, like you were saying last week, boom. That's not realistic. It's not realistic because I keep telling people, holidaying and living in a place is two different things. There's so much variables, there's so much context. I'm sorry. Now, if you look at somewhere
you know
like...
what though, sorry, just to
Go on.
interject.
Yeah.
I do think experience is big when it comes to making that immediate impact. Chelsea, God knows how many years ago in this window,
Yeah.
signed Mark Hughes, Gianfranco Zola, and Ruud Gullit. They all did bloody well, bloody quickly. Straight into that team. They hadn't played in the country, they didn't speak English, but what you had was two of Serie A's greatest players and one of the Premier League's greats at that point anyway as well, in Mark Hughes. All coming in, all over 30 years old.
Yeah, unbelievable. Name me 3 others. That's again like picking Leicester out. That's once in a blue moon. But I'll give you this though. If you looked at their 3 careers before they came to Chelsea, I bet they've moved around quite a lot apart from Mark Hughes, but the other 2. So they've adapted, they know how to adapt now.
Even
in
Mark
countries.
Hughes, you know, he was at Bayern Munich, he was at Barcelona as well.
No, but this is what I'm
You know,
saying.
he-
So he's been around and he
Yeah.
understands. You're not buying someone that is from wherever he's from, even if he's from England and he's from, I don't know,
Yeah, from let's say Morgan Rogers, for example.
for
who's gonna be
example,
linked
it
to-
took Morgan Rogers time to adapt. Now you're getting the best out of him, right?
Yeah.
But if this was a different player now and his name was, I don't know, let's say Anthony, for example,
Yeah.
and he'd come for the same money, everybody be, oh my God. Da, da, da. What I'm saying to you is you have to understand and put into context, these players are coming over, it's totally different. Expectation is different. Media is different. Outcomes are different. Different tempos, different ways of playing, more tactical, they might have been able to do whatever they was able to do.
You
There's
know what? Though,
loads.
if I paid 100 mil, shush you with that kind of stuff. And
Nah, because you're
perform.
it's not the same though. 100 mil in this industry is different to like, because people were like, well, if I went to it and someone bought something for 100 mil, your job don't buy 100 million every single day. This job does. Do you understand what I mean? This industry does. So let me give you an example. Why do you think then? I know why I think. Why do you think Brentford are able to churn out striker after striker after striker?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they have a prerequisite scouting model in place.
So does everyone. Go on.
No.
They're good at doing it. No, they're good at doing it.
Not-
But so does
they're,
everyone. Whether good or not, so does everyone. Carry on.
It's not so does everyone.
So does
This
everyone.
This is you're being like me.
No. So does everyone in terms of everyone's got that. Not how good they are. They're very good, but so does everyone. But what everyone don't have at Brentford is
the
Time.
structure in place, because
Right.
they've also got sister clubs abroad as well, in which case they can actually plan, place, execute players ahead of time. The majority of leagues outside of the Premier League will give you a good base, but they will be too much of a jump to step up to immediately in most cases. So you need to have that landing pad. Brentford have been building for years, right?
Right.
It's a League One club historically. So they've had the time and the opportunity to implement an infrastructure that works for them. And because their recruitment model is based upon numbers in ulterior leagues, they're not looking in Liga, they're not looking in Serie A or La Liga. They don't buy their players from there because they know they cannot compete financially or in terms of a draw with the other clubs who are looking there. So they go to their ulterior leagues like Brighton do, that early, that quickly. They bring them in, they form them for the club. And you know what? Those sister clubs play in a very, very similar system and style to the parent club itself, which makes the transition very much easier.
right. With that all being said, also there's not this crazy pressure to straight away come in and score whatever amount of goals.
It's because there's no
There's not-
price tag on these players, I'm afraid. These are not big signings.
So here, what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying to you, right? So, and there's also not a fan expectation in terms of the club internally. All the fans that are there that come to watch, they don't boo their fans or they don't, oh my God, he's not time. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
So now you can see he's been injured for a year. And normally when players come for whatever they come for, whatever, someone's injured for a year, it's like, oh my, he ain't even played yet. Oh my God, he's injured, he can't stay.
Killed, yeah.
Look at Igor now.
Mm.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, I know, listen, it's first season syndrome compared to last season, he was injured. I think he's only played 8 games, right? And it'll be second season syndrome. Let's see if he's able to repeat that. But it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, it's proven, right? Mbeumo, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins, sorry, the young man at Newcastle now.
What's the matter?
What's his name?
The striker.
No, not striker. He went from Brentford.
Oh, Vissa.
Vissa. I know they're not strikers. They're attackers,
No,
though, right?
yeah,
Attacking
yeah.
players. You understand? Because Brentford giving them, they're communicating to them. They've built a relationship with the players. Listen,
Yeah, Ivan Toney as well. They made good money, man.
right?
They made
Not just
money.
good. I mean, like how they're able to get the output that they're getting from these players. It says something, and you know what? What it is now, you know, Frank got a lot of that, right? And I know he's implemented all the system there, and he did beautifully. But it also shows like it's not just him no more.
Yeah.
It's now actually Brentford.
It's the club.
It's the club.
It's the
You
club.
know,
And
so-
it goes back to what we were saying earlier on about those coaching situations and how responsible is that coach as opposed to being a manager. To end with, what do you think of my proposal of a Wilfred, Nancy, Martin O'Neill double manager? It's not going to happen, is it? They're going to get rid of Wilfred Nancy now because he's lost to Rangers. It was an absolutely horrific second half performance from them.
That's the one that could have been,
Yeah, I think it's really, really difficult to get
At
that from that
home
one
as
as
well.
well. And like I said, if we're going to this system thing as well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You have Martin O'Neill who came in, fixed it. They got a load of great results. And then you had Wilfred Nancy coming and say, I'm the new manager, we're going to do things this way, I'm going to implement. Don't implement your ideas, they're crap. They're crap ideas right now because they're making you lose. I'm not saying that overall the imposition is a bad thing, but right now they're crap because you're losing.
But do you
You've
think-
changed the
alright,
system.
you say
You're playing
that.
Kieran Tierney as a left centre back.
Hold on a
What the hell?
second.
You know what? Martin O'Neill wasn't even picking him. He wasn't in Martin O'Neill's team. He was playing a 4-3-3. Nice and simple, winning games. What'd you do? We're winning games. It's nice and simple. What do? Let's change everything up. Why? Because you've got a massive ego.
No, I don't think it's ego though. Let me ask you a question, serious question. Do you think he got the job when he interviewed for the job on his theories, his philosophy, on what he would do?
Martin or Wilfred?
No, Wilfred.
When he got the job.
When he got the job and he sat down in an interview with, he's gone now,
Peter Lawwell.
Peter Law, and he presented all his philosophy, what he tends to do. He had this one here and all that one there, and Peter Law looked at it and knew everyone in there.
It looked great.
It looked great, right?
Great.
And then imagine if he came and did none of that, what you're saying right now. Now, I'm not saying what you're saying wouldn't work, because obviously Martin O'Neill was there and he was able to do what he was able to do. What I'm saying though, if I'm hiring someone, I've sat in front of you, Seb, and I've gone, right, Seb, this is what I see, this is what I do, this is how I want to do it, here's my team, blah, blah, blah. And you hired me.
I say, great. That's all good. Personally speaking, win games. All
I
right?
heard that.
All right? Win games.
Win games.
I'm hiring you to win games. All this, as far as I'm concerned, fluff. Absolute
So why not
fluff.
just keep Martin O'Neill then, Seb? You hired me.
You know
why?
why?
Not?
You know why I didn't keep Martin
Tell
O'Neill?
me.
Because I'd already hired Wilfred Nancy. That'll be it. There was already a date in which he could leave and I could hire Wilfred Nancy.
So what you're saying, Seb Ewan is saying, is that Celtic put Nancy in this.
They dropped the
Yeah.
ball.
And I don't think, listen, imagine this scenario, yeah? Everyone, imagine this scenario.
What, Rangers winning the SPL from
No.
behind?
That's not what I'm saying.
By the
Imagine
way,
it-
sorry, quick shout out to Hearts, another Tony Bloom Cup as well, Brighton Sister Club. They might not fall off. It's going to be an interesting season. Sorry.
Interesting season, and we'll go to that. But imagine this: Martin O'Neill comes tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. They go on a 4-5 game winning streak. We've said this before. What is the context going to be?
O'Neill is the greatest manager alive.
So why keep him then? You think he's going to accept that he is a lose-lose for Wilfred? No matter what.
It's already been a lose.
Yeah, but you know, losing on your terms. in
It's still
terms of-
losing. You're still a loser. You're still
No,
a loser.
but
This is
you
Glasgow
just gotta-
Celtic. You're going to win. Every single reason. What are we going to do? We're going to win. We're going to get Champions League. I'm going to play a 3-4-3.
So hold on.
The players
Yeah, but
have to
imagine
play
this.
system. They don't. You just need to win games, you
This
moron.
guy likes to scream. It's
Oh,
2026.
my God.
Scream. Hear what I'm saying though? They win 4 games, 5 games. They get rid of Wilfred. Martin O'Neill takes over. Yeah. What do you think he's gonna be at home saying? I can't believe I let him. I can't believe. Come on, man. It's a lose.
It was Roy Evans, Gerard Houllier. It was
No, but
Roy
that was
Evans,
totally
Gerard-
different.
Why it wasn't totally
Because
different?
it was from the start.
It wasn't totally different.
It was from the start.
It was a bad idea. Both of them bad ideas. Last question for today. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. What are they signing, if anything? What do they need? City don't need Semenyo, but they're going to sign him, right?
They're gonna sign him.
Should Arsenal go for Gehi, just to be cheeky?
No.
No,
No.
don't mess with Arsenal right
They
now.
got what's his name?
Mosquera.
Mosquera.
Yeah, backline all good.
Yeah,
Hincapié,
Timber. I
Saliba,
saw that they was
Timber.
trying to go for Timber's brother, right? Wasn't they?
Yeah, you've got
Mhm.
Jurian.
Arsenal could still do with like a in behind runner striker. Like, you know, like,
They could do with a Jokeres replacement.
That's not what I said.
No, I know, it's not what you
That's
said.
not
It's
what
what I
said.
was thinking.
And what did I say the other day? I said to you also, Gabriel can be that if he's willing to do it. You know.
yeah,
He's still one of the best at doing that, with his top speed, with his game understanding, with his movement and everything. But you know, he wants to drop deep, which is fine. But I'm saying he could still be that, you know, if the conversation was had and understood and willingness. But still, do Arsenal sign anyone? Do they? Problem is, if Arsenal don't win the league, will you revert back to this and be like, well, he should have brought someone in?
Absolutely, of course,
They-
I will.
of course
It's just
you
in my
will.
nature, right?
Yeah, of course
No,
it is.
I think the Arsenal squad at the moment is very, very balanced, and I think that they have a number of players to come back. Havertz still to come back as well, and like I said, it's got beautiful balance at the moment. It really has. You've got some.
So
nice
if you
young
was
players
Arsenal-
coming through as well, yeah.
Because you're an Arsenal fan, yeah? Not saying they need.
Mhm.
Who would you break the bank for right now?
We're gonna break the bank for right now.
Yeah.
I can't see any specific problem areas, and I think if it's not broken, don't tinker too much. You know, you have different kinds of options. You've got different kinds of players able to come on as well. If we looked at the performances from this weekend as well, you've got a different forward three that were substituted on 60 minutes, and then you're able to bring on guys like Saka, Gabriel Jesus, Trossard. It's a massive ability to be able to do that. Anywhere at all, any player. I like Désiré Doué a lot. I
Yeah.
like Bradley
That's what I
Barcola.
thought you was. But listen to this though. Does Wharton stay? Does Anderson stay? We spoke about that last time. Do they get moves?
I don't think that Palace can afford to lose another significant player this window. You know, and I think if we look with Mark Gehi as well, last time round he didn't go. He didn't go in the summer. He should have gone, arguably, in the summer, as far as Liverpool are concerned to them. Do I see him leaving mid-season? Nope.
Tomori. We finish on that one. Tomori.
How much is it going to cost, do you think?
30.
I think for that kind of money as well, when your top rating centre backs are sort of.
I'm not saying that's what he's worth.
No.
I'm saying, but I think
it's
for an
very
AC
valuable.
Milan and Italian clubs right now, 30, 35, you'd go up to 50 million for Tomori.
Yeah.
That's regular money right now. It is, you know, proven, playing in a country that defense is more important than offense.
Well, I'll do a bit of research into him for next week. Give you a viewpoint on him as well. See
I
how
just
it
watch him
goes.
play, and I saw Arteta say what he likes in his strikers, in his defenders. Sprinting, being quick, get to the ball, everything else he can teach.
Good. So hopefully you can teach that to Gyökeres as well, and we might get a few goals from him soon enough. Guys, that's it for today. Hasta luego. Hasta la vista. Hasta próxima. Ciao, ciao.